Welcome back to Headlines and Heartlines, where we go beyond the headlines and get to the heart of the people shaping Liberty County, Texas. I'm the host, Vanesa Brashier, owner and publisher of Bluebonnet News of Texas. Today, I am joined by Jacob Mullins, Republican candidate for Liberty County Commissioner Precinct 2, and proudly a resident of God's country, which I consider to be Moss Hill, Texas, which is where I live too. The Republican primary election will be held on March 3rd, 2026, and this race will help determine who represents Precinct 2 on Commissioner's Court. For those who are unaware, Commissioner's Court is responsible for the county roads and bridges, not the state roads, budgeting, infrastructure, emergency services support, and the day-to-day decisions that directly impact taxpayers. Today we're going to talk about Jacob's background, his priorities, and why he believes he's the right choice for this role. Jacob, welcome to Bluebonnet News, Headlines and Heartlines.
Well, thank you for having me.
Can you, for voters who may not know you, can you tell me a little bit about yourself, your background, and what led you to run for this position?
Sure. So, my name is Jacob Mullins, and I'm a lifelong resident here in Precinct 2. Currently reside in Moss Hill, USA. So, I have a husband, father, Christian, my wife, Christy, and we have 2 kids that attend Hardin ISD. I have a freshman girl and then a 4th grade boy. So I spend my time, going to all the sporting events and then, livestock, church, active member at Hardin Baptist Church. So graduated, started in Hardin, went kindergarten through 12th grade, graduated Hardin ISD. After Hardin, I moved to College Station and attended Texas A&M University, where I got my bachelor's in political science, minor in communications. So after my time there, I came back home and I went to work full time at the Texas Department of Transportation, TxDOT, for the Beaumont District in the Transportation Planning and Development Division. A lot of that entails working with MPOs, Metropolitan Planning Organizations, which one of those is HGAC, which Liberty County falls under.
Yeah.
So while I was working at TxDOT, I attended Lamar University, and I got my master's in public administration. So went various roles within TxDOT. I started in the Liberty area office as a summer hire, on the stop and slow sign, working on road crews. And then, like I said, worked in TP&D, worked with emergency management. I was the liaison for the DDC, which is 21.
What is the DDC?
It's the District Disaster Committee.
Okay.
There's 21 spread throughout Texas. I worked in the Beaumont one. It's only implemented when there's emergency disasters. I was the liaison during Hurricane Ike. I actually was the one who made the call. I didn't make the decision, but I made a call, to implement the contraflow during Hurricane Ike.
Oh.
So after, then the hurricane came in, and
I remember everyone being scared.
Yeah, definitely. So
yeah.
After that, we rolled right into emergency contracts as far as getting crews out there and crews from all across the state to come help, pick up the debris and things like that along the road. Worked in accounting, finance with TxDOT, and then I moved over to the Vehicle Titles and Registration Division, and in 2009. Legislative update actually created a new state agency to what is now the Texas Department of Motor Vehicles. There I was the Beaumont regional manager, and we worked alongside, we had 15 counties that we were responsible for spread throughout Southeast Texas region, working with a lot of elected officials and legislative issues, administrative rulemaking, all that process. Working motor carriers enforcement, things to that nature. After the public sector, I went on to work for ExxonMobil at the Beaumont refinery in operations. There I worked on a lot of projects, a lot of turnarounds, multi-million-dollar projects where, oh, by the way, 45 to 60 days, we want this complete, type scenario. Worked in a lot of, stressful situations. While I was there, I was on the emergency response team, the fire team. So I've bunkered up and fought live industrial fires. So
Gosh.
I have respect for those people, our first responders that do that for full time, and the volunteer fire departments at that matter. I've gone to fire training at TEACS at Texas A&M and gone through that process. So back in 2022, 2021 timeframe, ExxonMobil Beaumont Refinery was a union facility, and they actually locked out all the hourly wage folks for 10 months. 10 months we were without a job.
So where'd you go?
Did a lot of odd and end type jobs. Luckily, kind of saved up, and we're also small. My wife and I are small business owners, so that kept me busy.
What kind of business?
We own different real estate property.
Okay.
So, spread through multiple counties. That kind of reset my priorities in life. I thought to myself, as a career person, and chase the dollar, 1,000 hours overtime every year type deal. But then I, started being able to go to, my kids' sporting events and award ceremonies at school. Started being able to attend, church on a regular basis because I was a shift worker. So
Couldn't do that when you were a shift worker.
Couldn't do that when I was a shift worker. So now I look back and I think that was probably the best thing that ExxonMobil could have done for me.
Because it resets you mentally.
It reset me mentally and refocused my life perspective
On your family,
on faith and family.
Yeah.
So every kind of go with the everything happens for a reason type deal. Unfortunately, sometimes we get impatient and we want to see things now, but we don't see the big picture until it might be years later.
God has a timeline.
He definitely has a timeline, and then it's not necessarily on our time.
I know. Sometimes we wish he'd be like, "Hurry up, hurry up." Yeah.
No doubt. So
so what are you doing these days?
So these days, I am currently the HSC Health Safety Environmental Director at Curtis & Son Companies.
Okay.
I'm located in Liberty.
A very high qualified, apparently, HSC coordinator with 2 degrees.
Well, it's between, I guess, education and professional experience, and those folks, it's a family business. I can't say enough about that family. They're a great family. They've taken care. It's a good work family. If we're not at work, a lot of our kids are in the same deal. So you'll see it's at football games or.
But now you possibly may be leaving it if you get elected.
I mean that is a possibility. We talked about it, and they said it's something that they're not gonna.
They support you.
Hold me back from, but I said, well, we'll cross that bridge if we get there. So that's for the voters to decide yet.
Yeah.
So
let's get into some of the questions that I have for you. What do you believe voters misunderstand about what a county commissioner actually does?
I think one of the biggest misconceptions of what a county commissioner does is probably it's not so much of what the role is; it's just the area of the job. For example, they might call up and have an issue with a road. Well, that might be a farm market or a state highway road, or a city road, or a city road.
Yeah, and they think you should be responsible for that.
Yeah, so I mean, just the educational aspect of it, is saying, and to me, it's not necessarily, okay, but I can give you the direction of who you need to talk with.
Yeah.
It might not be my area, but this is
Point them in the right direction.
Point them in the right direction.
Okay.
Absolutely.
What do you think is the most important responsibility of a county commissioner?
The most important responsibility is, being responsible and, hearing what the constituents, their priorities, and, being as far as, taking into their consideration, providing a safe area for Precinct 2, a safe area as far as, proper growth management, infrastructure, supporting, providing the services, through fire departments, volunteer ESDs, EMS service, providing again a safe area that we can call home.
With redistricting, Precinct 2 now includes the north side of Cleveland, goes all the way to the county line of Polk County, and all the way to the county line of San Jacinto County, and over to Hardin County, and then I guess it ends. Where does Precinct 2 end?
Precinct 2,
on the south side.
I mean, it goes all the way to the railroad tracks, 1008 and
1008.
Kennefic.
It's a large territory.
It is. It's the largest one in the county,
and very different
square mileage wise.
Yeah.
It's kind of, I would say, probably more diverse as far as the urban, rural businesses and just farmland, agriculture.
Well, I'm sure you've been talking to people when you've been out and about. So when you're speaking to them, what concerns are you hearing the most often?
Concerns that I hear the most often is the concern about the growth and direction that the county is going with the growth. A lot of time you do hear, issues as far as the conditions of the road and the drainage. But a lot of those, a lot of that is just natural, but they do understand as far as the budget constraints that the county faces with it. However, when I'm out and talking with folks, it seems to always come back to the growth of what's coming to the county.
The county commissioners are kind of limited on what they can prevent, correct?
They are limited, and my platform, my number one issue that I've run on is proper growth management. They are limited on what they can do, but there are things, as far as like the regulations, a lot of things that we have in place with our
subdivision laws.
Our subdivision laws. The question is, what are we doing to enforce it?
Okay. Yeah, I think they raised it a few years ago.
Now, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
They have made great progress
Yeah.
in the last, 10, 15 years
Yeah.
from where we were to, where we are now. And they've, it's still a concern for the commissioners. I'm not saying that. They recently had a workshop discussing this very matter. But it's going to...
But you think more needs to be done?
I do think more needs to be done from the aspect of safety.
Okay.
Well, I say safe. It can be even, like the permit fees. I keep hearing there ain't nothing that we can do as far as controlling the growth. It's here, it's coming, but that don't mean we have to make it easy for them.
Yeah.
We want to establish guidelines that is not going to create expenses down the road for our current taxpayers
To have to fix
to bear the load.
Roads and
Exactly.
and provide public safety and stuff.
That's exactly right. So,
Okay.
What I talk about as far as proper growth management, lot size. I'm not talking about HOA type, regulations
Yeah.
on,
Yeah.
Whether or not you cut your grass, whether you got a carport or whether you got a garage. I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about is, again, from the safety and financial aspects, lot sizes. We can establish lot sizes, setbacks as far as off the right of ways and things like that. Distance between the homes. We don't want it to where You know,
Yeah, you can reach out and touch the other person's house.
And your house is on fire. Well, now
the next one's going to burn, and the next one's going to burn.
Now your neighbor's on fire. The integrity structure of the roads. You know, in our plans we have specs to where we're supposed to do like cylinder brakes and stuff on to test the integrity structure of our roads. Mm-hmm. Are those being done? You know, I watched a workshop here. Excuse me, it was a commissioners meeting, and I'm assuming it was a representative of LGA Engineering. Well, he got up there and was talking about a subdivision that was in addition and got approved, and he went on about how this engineering company and subdivision developer did a great job as far as these plans and did the cylinder brakes and all that. But in my mind, that's good. Good job for them. But that should be the standard set by the county. I mean, that should, everybody should be doing that. Mm-hmm. So that's the questions that, you know, I have. And set.
Can we put that into place?
As far as
the cylinder brakes?
Yeah.
Can you explain what a cylinder brake is?
That's where you you test like you mixture in the concrete, asphalt, things like that, and you'll test the structure of it before the brake to make sure it's strong enough
to support the weight of all the trucks and everything else that come through.
Correct. And that's you brought that up. You know, that's another thing is, so what's happening is the developers are building these roads. Mm-hmm. Well, then they'll set for a little bit, and they won't go as far as building the homes and all. Well, meanwhile, that timeline, that 2-year timeline, as far as turning it over to the county maintenance program, it becomes, it starts lapsing. Then it becomes, so they go start building some homes. Well, all those concrete trucks and all that are still,
and they're wearing that road down.
And they're wearing that road down. So they actually was taught, I saw in that workshop was, and it's a great idea, is to set like a threshold to where they have to say have to develop 50% of that before, they
50% of
50% of the homes in that development.
Okay.
Having some kind
before they approve the roads
before it starts turning over into,
so before the county accepts responsibility.
Correct. Yeah.
For maintenance.
That's correct. Yeah. And just again that oversight, even with that process, is are we looking at that, within that time frame where it's still in the construction phase for the developer?
Do you think Colony Ridge has been what has driven this desire for change? Because you don't want to see more of those, or
I do think that is probably the
impetus,
driving force behind a lot of it.
Okay.
Because there's been, and to the Colony Ridge thing, again back to when it first started to where it's become now. There's been progress made.
Oh yeah, lots of progress.
Yeah. Again,
but there's still room for improvement.
There's still
everywhere.
room for, one thing that, if you drive out there, again, back to the safety aspect, where's the fire water systems? As far as if there's a good
hydrants and things.
Yeah, the fire hydrants.
I haven't taken a look at that. I would have to go out there and look.
One thing that I would, like to bring up, that like we have to have these detention ponds put in place to help with drainage and stuff. Mm-hmm. Well, a lot of counties around require like a dry hydrant be put into the detention pond. That way, in the event of emergency, a fire truck can
pull water from there.
Pull water from that, right? So
that didn't occur to me.
But those are the type of things that
you want to see,
that I want to see, as far as when I talk about proper growth management and development for neighborhoods. Mm-hmm. That's the things that I would like to see.
Okay.
Road with, as far as emergency vehicles being able to get in and out of there. We don't want to build these roads and then everybody starts parking on them and then the fire truck can't get in there,
right?
Or EMS. Those are the
concerns.
The concerns, my heartburn issues with development.
Okay. So you think the county should require stronger infrastructure commitments from developers before approving new subdivisions?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
so what are your thoughts on protecting the longtime residents while still accommodating the rapid growth, the new growth?
So as far as protecting the long-term residents,
yeah.
One thing that I would like to see, the possibility of, and I know if folks are, current officials and stuff are listening, and they're going to say, read the administrative code and impact fees and stuff to that nature. So most definitely, I do want to do the research and consult with counties and attorneys and stuff like that. But if there's any type of upfront, residential impact fees or whatever that the developer can pay, I know that recently, or I say recently, probably about 4 or 5 years ago, there was a proposal done through Commissioner's Court that you published. So
What was it for?
it was.
I've written so many stories, I forget them.
It was, somebody went to Commissioner's Court and proposed the idea of, and I think it got misconstrued of what you call it, but basically impact fees for the developer.
Oh, yeah.
Developer
Yeah.
to pay. If we can't do that, well,
Well, Dayton does that.
as
Yeah,
far
they
as
do
when
impact fees. It
but
works.
but that's a municipality.
Yeah, but it works for the city.
But they have more, I guess, regulatory control
Yeah.
over than versus the county.
Yeah.
So that's a question. But I mean, we can do things like we don't have to give them 383 tax breaks.
Yeah.
I mean, permit. We can go back to the permit fees. We haven't redone our permit fees, what's published on our website, since 2018.
So maybe it's time to redo those.
Redo those. I mean, the way it's set up now is we give them a discount if they build over 100 lots. I'm not really interested in giving them any kind of discounts. I want to get all the funding so that we don't have to raise taxes for everybody else around here to pay for the stress that growth is going to put on our local infrastructure.
Well, look at what it's doing in Dayton with all the traffic coming through.
Look what it's doing on Dayton, and I'm not just county. I mean, it goes beyond what the commissioner. It goes to look at Cleveland ISD. Every year, Cleveland ISD tries to pass a school bond,
Yeah.
and they have a hard time passing that.
Well, the last ones have failed.
And rightfully so. I mean, taxpayers don't want to.
Liberty has a bond that they're proposing right now for their school district.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
Tarkington had bonds that failed. They've had
And
multiples that have failed. I think the taxpayers are just like, enough already.
Yeah. And it is. I mean, every time you turn around, there's some kind of either regulatory fee or tax or something, and that's probably the most challenging part that would be with this job is folks want services provided, but not at the expense of raising taxes.
So how do you get there?
As far as
How do you provide the services without raising taxes?
well, as back to the proper growth management, I would love to promote industrial growth, businesses, and
But where would you like to see the industrial growth? It's not spread around all of Liberty County. You want it more.
Well, a lot of it's channeled to
Dayton area.
Dayton, Mount Bellevue,
Yeah.
and near the industrial,
along 146,
the petrochemical
Yeah.
industry, and I do think, with the Gulf Inlet and things like that, we're not seeing it right now because through tax abatement and stuff. Usually, that type of stuff takes
a little bit of time. Yeah, Gulf Inland's going to be huge.
It will be huge, and it'll be a good thing for the county.
Oh yeah, jobs, lots of jobs.
Right, but we'll have some growing pains until we get there, until
Traffic.
we start seeing. Yeah.
Oh God,
Yeah.
I got caught up in the traffic jam the other day in between Dayton and Liberty, and I was lucky that we had plenty of time because I had an appointment, and we were there for 30 extra minutes just trying to get up the hill.
Yeah, it's
pretty miserable
pretty
trying to get
bad.
through town.
and look,
Dayton needs help.
Dayton, yeah, but whoever sits in the commissioner's seat, the county judge seat, any commissioner precinct, that's the challenges that they're gonna. Anybody is going to face with
The growing pains?
The growing pains.
Yeah.
That's going to be anybody in the seat.
Okay. Well, so let's talk about the roads. So roads are a big complaint. I'm sure you hear it when you're out talking to people. What is your honest assessment of the current road conditions in Precinct 2? I'm sure you've been traveling now.
Yeah, I've traveled them, and people, that's been a top issue. And
There are a lot of roads in
there's a
Precinct
lot
too.
of roads, and yes, I mean, it's easy for me to sit there and say that we need to go and repair roads, but the budget, with the limitation of the budget, that's a task in itself.
Do you know how much Precinct 2 gets?
As far as material, it's a little under 900,000. So
It's not a lot.
it's not a lot. So in order, that'll eat up a couple miles maybe, and there you go. Your whole budget's spent. So there are other, some other avenues that I would like to see as far as
Grant funding?
grant funding. Yeah, everybody's quick to throw out grant funding.
It's hard to get sometimes.
Grant funding as far as county roads. Usually when that comes, it's in the form of a natural disaster,
And we don't want
and
that.
we don't want
No more
want
Harveys,
that.
please.
Right, but we could do some other grants and grants for like flood mitigation, or grants for the TURP program. That's a good opportunity maybe to replace
The what program?
the TURP program. It's through the TCEQ. Basically,
Okay.
what that is you could take some old diesel motor engines,
Uh-huh.
and you can replace it for some newer. It's a good opportunity to maybe get some newer equipment.
Okay.
So if you can do those type items,
Then they give you grants for that.
right.
I guess they're more energy efficient or more.
Correct. Yeah. And,
Okay.
And so maybe if you can free some more money up there, well, then you can reallocate that
To your roads.
to the roads. Another idea is that I would like to work with like the pipelines and stuff like that come in.
For like a road use agreement.
They have a road use agreement, and so we have some coming in Precinct 2 area. So that's a good opportunity to get some roads fixed.
I know Bruce Karbowski has been very good about getting those companies to pay up when they use the county roads, and they've paid up big in
Yes.
Precinct 1.
Yeah. So that's something that I would like to look into and go after.
Yeah.
Another thing I tell people is, every time you go buy a new vehicle, I said first, check with your county. I'm all about keeping it in the county businesses and stuff. I said, but if you do go outside, make sure you get your registration fees. Make sure you get that brought back into Liberty County.
Yeah.
Because it's fees you already got to pay, so
Yeah.
you might as well get the road and bridge, sent to Liberty County that
Benefits your county.
That benefits your county.
I always try to make sure I fill up my gas tank in Liberty. It may not make that big of a difference. It may make no difference, but I'd rather buy it locally.
There is a percentage of it that goes back
Yeah.
to it. I would like to see
More.
some more.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. But
The state wants their part.
yes,
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, they definitely want their part. How would you prioritize which roads are repaired first?
So the first thing that I would want to do is I would want to sit down with current staff,
Okay.
and I would want to see what type of maintenance program, what kind of program that they have implemented in place. And then what I would like to see, I would like to take our roads and I'd like to categorize them. Let's say good, fair, poor, and failure.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'd like to take those and then consider the impacts of the road, or like
How many people
Hi-
live there? And
the traffic volume for those roads.
yeah.
And then if there's any safety related items, has there been accidents
Yeah.
because of the road? Then are there resources that need to go? School buses. The school buses need to travel that road.
Ambulances.
Emergency responses.
Yeah.
Things to that. So I want to information gather that, and I'd also like to get public input as well, as far as what do they think is nobody knows the roads better than the people who travel them.
Mm-hmm.
So but take all those things into consideration, and then what you might see is year one your numbers might be higher in the poor and failure areas, but maybe by year four, maybe those numbers will start moving into the good and fair type. That's the goal. Hopefully taking more of a proactive than a reactive approach. For every dollar you spend, in a proactive, it can save you $4 or $5, down the road as far as a reactive. So those are the I guess the checklist criteria type things of when I would look at prioritizing the roads. That's what I would look to go after.
So let's speak about big projects. The county commissioners have recently hired an architect as the county moves toward a new county jail. What is your position on building a new county jail, and do you believe it's necessary at this time?
First and foremost, I want to support our law enforcement staff. And again, I keep going back to growth. These are the headaches and stuff that we will face with growth. So we're in a position. I mean, it's kind of like a house or a piece of equipment. The more you wear that thing out, the more you use it, it's going to get wore out. So we're in a position now, where we're spending the amount of money that we're spending, to outsource and send folks outside
Out to
of
other
the county.
areas because we don't have bed space.
Right. Well, I mean, that would pay for the jail.
Yeah.
So, and my understanding is we're probably going to be in that direction. We've already hired, as far as the prep design.
And we've got
of
the
it.
land for it. It's right there next to the new law enforcement center on 146.
Right.
So we've got space.
Yeah, we do have space.
And they're building it, they're designing it so that there will be room to grow the jail there because it'll have, the footprint will be,
Right.
The infrastructure will allow.
Yes, and hats off to them that absolutely, when we make these type of decisions, we need to make that decision based on, 40, 50 years, not necessarily today. And that would be possibly another, revenue source that we could, if we're not.
You mean renting the beds out or?
Exactly. If we don't have them full today, which that's a good thing too.
Yeah.
That maybe Harris County or local
A neighboring
county, they can come here and.
We've been sending our prisoners out further than just neighboring counties. They've been going
Louisiana,
across the state, and then you think, how's that fair for the defendant? Because they need to meet with their family, they need to meet with their lawyers, they need, and then it's just what a nightmare for everyone involved.
I think we all need to kind of rally behind that and help support.
Okay, so you're in support of that.
I mean, not only that, well, it's also taken away from law enforcement officers that are having to.
They're having to transport.
Yeah, they're having to transport when they could be patrolling and doing their normal job duties right here at home. So it's a safety issue too.
It's going to be expensive, that's for sure.
It is definitely.
I don't remember what the price tag was. It's like a lot, 100 million or more. I can't remember.
I want to
exactly.
say it was close to like 120, 125
Yeah, it's
million.
a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So that, kind of back to the roads as far as, there was talk. That's another way you could go about on fixing roads and stuff is kind of do a loan type bond deal. But I don't want to stretch out the county with the amount of capital that we're fixing to spend on the jail. I'm not fixing to be a supporter of going out more. They're
going to have to go out they're going to have to borrow money for this.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I don't want to sit there and try to do that for other infrastructure projects.
Yeah.
Not right now.
Not right now. It can't take on but so much.
Yes.
Okay. Is there any input that you hope to add to the county jail project? Is there anything that you're looking back and going, I wish I was there now so that I could ask these questions?
I mean, the questions that I would like to ask as far as in the past and all, how did we get there to where the current jail failed and got out of compliance? And let's make sure that don't happen, with the new one.
And then probably find use for the current jail because they can still use the building after they get them moved out to the new one.
Yeah. So you brought that as far as it could be for a juvenile. The question, the animal control shelter, that's been a hot topic of late too. So, and my understanding is when we build this new jail that there's going to be some money to build the new, like an animal type
animal shelter.
So,
and we desperately need it.
We do. But my question at that point is if I was in there now was, can we look at our existing buildings that we own? What about the current jail or what about the previous old jail? Mm-hmm. Can we repurpose that? Instead of building something new, would it be more cost efficient to repurpose an existing building?
I don't know what the requirements are because there's so many laws about animal care.
And I'm not saying that we might not. It might be more cost efficient to build something new.
Yeah,
I'm just saying those are the questions. If I was sitting in the seat,
they may have land at the county jail area where they can build the animal shelter there, and then the inmates can be used to help keep the facility clean.
And I think that might have something to, as far as why they want it at that is because they could use the inmates and stuff to where they wouldn't have to transport them to another location. But.
Yeah, and they'd have ample resources to run it. That would be good.
Correct.
Okay, Lord, we've gone through so many of my questions. If you have to prioritize for Precinct 2, roads, drainage, public safety, infrastructure, county facilities, which one would it be? That's rough, isn't it?
Yeah.
All of the above?
Yeah, all the above. Flood mitigation and road repairs is kind of up there with 1A and 1B. But I would probably go to flood mitigation because
it affects roads.
Water is the number one source of damage to road failure.
Yeah.
So if you can help with that, well, then that would
that's true.
take care of roads. And aside just from, that it could affect personal property, with flooding and things to that nature. So that's where I would go with that.
You've given me some good answers here. Man, we've gone through the questions. Okay, so speaking of drainage, are there areas in Precinct 2 that you find that have the biggest issues?
Yes, so they're obviously around the Trinity River. You're always going to have those low-lying areas. So what I would like to see, because I think in midsummer the drainage study is supposed to be complete, and my understanding is supposed to be like an interactive GIS type model to where you can see and
it's like hydrology.
Yes, and you can plug and play. You can base it off of a 10-year flood or a 100-year flood.
But aren't 100-year floods happening every 10 years now?
Milda and
Harvey. But they're back to back.
Yeah, but it goes to one. It goes to where the water's running to, but then also when the river rises. So I would like to see what that study shows, and then the next step would be to get grant funding and execute to where are the choke points. Is it a reduction in because of the culvert? That's the questions that I ask, and then let's go after that. And again, are those choke points, how many homes are around there, and what can that impact? And more so,
what about cleaning the ditches and the drains?
Yeah, so
because I don't know how much they've been maintained because there's a limitation on funding.
That's something that using that Great All machine. There's other methods. You can take a rod, stick it through, and pull it through with the tire.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah, you could.
I know Leon did it when he was still here with us.
You could hydro excavate is another method
with water.
With water, so there are methods that we could go after while we're waiting. For the drainage study as far as a bigger picture. But again, back with that drainage study, what's important about that drainage study is then we can implement it into our development regulations. Because that's a lot of my, for folks that's lived here for a while, I don't know if you're like me, I find myself driving around and I see a house pop up and I say that house is going to flood next time, we get
because you know the area.
Because I know the area. So
I always suggest that if people are looking at land here drive around after a hard rain and see what areas are holding water.
Yeah, no doubt. So, but so a lot of that was raw land and stuff. So was that considered a flood area? Based on the FEMA maps and stuff like that. And will this study identify new areas? That's what I'm curious to find out.
Yeah. Hopefully we get some good data from that study. Let's talk about supporting the sheriff's office and other emergency service. Do you believe that we have enough emergency response currently?
As far as I want to, like the EMS contract, I think we did a disservice and we took a step backwards with our current
with Acadian.
With Arcadian. I'll be the first to admit when I don't know something and I'm not a subject matter expert. And with the job, I feel while I might not know something, I know the resources and the people to go talk to. So, my question was those folks consulted, and were they, did they get their input in the matter? Because, with the growth, we can't go down in our numbers as far as providing the coverage. So,
we need more.
Yeah, one thing I would propose, as far as my understanding, there was a work group committee that did this. Again,
For the ambulance service?
For the EMS service. Again, was any of those folks on there? And what I would like to see, if there are such committees, is that we have at least a representative from every precinct that's considered a subject matter.
Or maybe some fire departments.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Like have a.
I don't know who was on the committee.
I don't either, but let's say like the fire department. We have a fire department representation from precinct 1, 2, 3, 4.
Or ESDs.
ESDs, but we have representation from all 4 precincts.
Yeah.
That's considered subject
because they're the
matter
ones that are out there
experts.
with the ambulance services.
Yes.
Okay, so what sets you apart from other candidates in the race, and why do you think Republican voters should choose you in the March 3rd primary?
So, one thing that sets me apart is, I'm not a career politician. I'm just a husband, father who's concerned with the direction of the county, and I want to be able to, for my kids to be able to call it home, if they so choose later on down the road. But what I think that I can bring is I bring both educational and professional experience. Professional, with my work experience, I've worked in the public sector, I've worked in the private sector, and I've worked in a small business owner. So I feel like I know the process, and I'm able to bring the right people to the situation, knock down any barriers and work together to resolve it. I've given the example of when with Hardin ISD. I don't know if you remember when that elementary school got put in.
Yeah.
There was no turn-in lane in there.
Oh yeah, now they have one.
Yeah.
It was dangerous for a while.
So that came about. I went to coffee with the superintendent, and that was a hot topic. And so I left there, and there were complaints and all that. Well, I went, to my wife, and I was like, you know what? I know what to do in that situation, and it's easy to complain, and it's easy to.
But you knew who to talk to.
Yeah, it's easy to get on Facebook and be.
Well, that doesn't do any good.
Keyboard, but to actually go about and do the work behind it, well, that's a challenge. But I knew who to go to with TxDOT, and also knew, it was probably going to have to get politics involved. And I actually wrote a letter to Senator Nichols' office. And the reason I chose Senator Nichols is because he was a former commissioner on the Texas
Transportation, too.
And he was the chairman of the Transportation Committee. So I knew. And so, that came about, and he actually called me on a Friday. And then Monday.
He's real good about that.
So, and then then the next one was the 834, and actually you can get in on this because I read one of your articles, and it was the area engineer was given a speech at the Chambers County.
Chamber of Commerce.
And then your article listed projects that they were going to be working on.
Yeah.
And I saw that they were going to be adding shoulders on 834 from Hardin all the way to Hull.
So it's easy just to
And
add this
so
project to it.
I actually sent your link to your article, and I said,
Oh,
"Here we
thank
go,
you.
yeah, here we go."
This is an easy one. Just come a little further, fix
Yeah.
it in front of the school. It's made it safer.
I mean, it has made it safer.
Yeah.
And that's
We haven't had any major accidents
Yeah,
there,
so,
so I'm thankful for that.
I mean, that was the goal. So,
May have to have a traffic light there at some point, but for now it's working.
yeah. For now,
It's working. So, how would you measure success at the end of your first term if you're elected?
How would I measure success? That's going to be a hard measure. I don't know what kind of matrix you could use as far as being able to measure success, because I don't, I understand that with the job, anything that you do, I'm going to try to do my best, but it's not going to make, everybody happy. For example, if we go patch a road, if we do a cold patch, then folks might be upset because, that material might get washed up. But if we do a hot patch, then folks might be upset because that material got on their vehicles.
Yeah.
So,
I've been there, done that.
yeah. So, all I can do is, give it my best. And try to make it, each day, each year, just a better place.
What specific improvements would you hope voters could point to and say, yep, that made a difference?
I would hope the neighborhood development regulations that while we can't control what private property owners do with their land, we can make it the best safest way to support our local infrastructure and hopefully keep low costs.
Yeah. So we've made it to the rapid fire questions. These are fun. These are simple questions, and they can be just one word responses. Okay? Boots, dress shoes, or hey dudes?
As I get older, hey dudes.
You like hey dudes? I know. They're so comfy, aren't they?
Yeah.
My son-in-law likes hey dudes. My daughter likes hey dudes.
Yeah.
What is your biggest strength?
My faith and family.
Okay. Name an area where you're still working to improve.
My faith and family.
Your faith and family, yeah. That's okay.
Patience. Things like this. I've met people speak.
You're not good at public speaking?
I'm not good at
You were worried
speaking.
about this interview. You feeling better about it now?
Okay,
good.
I'm much better one-on-one than large crowds.
Same.
Yeah.
Same. I hate getting in front of a crowd.
It's out of my comfort zone, but it comes with the territory.
It does. What is one word that would describe your leadership style?
Lead by example.
That's good. Most underrated issue in Precinct 2?
Most underrated.
Can't think of one, huh?
Well, I guess I would figure the EMS. It's not underrated in my mind, but
Just not getting enough attention.
It's not getting enough attention.
Yeah. What is your favorite thing about Liberty County?
It's home, the people. This is it. It's home.
It's home. Who has influenced you most in life?
People-wise, I would say my parents.
Yeah. What are their names?
Brett and Danelle.
What?
Brett and Danelle Mullins.
Brett and Danelle. Yeah. Okay. Favorite Bible verse?
Favorite Bible verse that I have been leaning on time and time again with this is Proverbs 3:5-6.
That's a good one, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Brisket or chicken fried steak?
Brisket.
Who do you call when you need advice?
It goes between my wife and my parents.
That's good. Mm-hmm. Are you a big picture thinker or a detail-oriented planner?
I would big picture.
Big picture.
Mm-hmm.
If voters can't remember one thing about you as they step into the voting booth, what do you hope that is?
That I'm first on the ballot and Jacob Mullins for Liberty County Commissioner, Precinct 2. And that I will do my best
Well, Jacob, thank you for joining me today on Headlines and Heartlines. To my listeners, the Republican primary election will be held on March 3rd, 2026. Early voting information and polling locations are available through the Liberty County Elections Office on the Liberty County Clerk's website. No matter where you stand, I encourage everyone to get informed, ask questions, and most importantly, vote.
Go vote.
Go vote.
Absolutely.
This has been Headlines and Heartlines, where we cover the headlines and we tell the heartlines. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.